10 past 1.
You bet. Right after the policy address.
9 minutes after the policy address.
Yep.
And we have Andrew Work.
That's right.
Right in front of the renovating Hong Kong Club.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing a bit of work over there.
Beautiful day.
Yeah. Beautiful day in Hong Kong. Beautiful day for a policy address.
Yeah, really long one.
Yeah.
Really long one.
Yeah.
2 hours and 1 minute.
Yeah, and I mean, they were moving at lightning speed, too. Of course, I was listening to the English language translation, and the first thing, as soon as I put it on was, whoa, is this woman getting paid, words per minute? She gets a bonus? I mean, she was just going super fast. And even still, it took 2 hours.
Yep.
So, so some
I
interesting
think
stuff in there.
my guess is that she might be one of the few that get the early draft of the policy address.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing she just reads it and then just has to make sure she doesn't.
That's
get
why
too
she
far
can
ahead.
be so quick.
Yeah. So they're not like
She's actually reading off from the English one,
not
translating.
Somebody's standing beside her going, "Slow down." He hasn't gotten to that part yet.
No, not that paragraph yet.
I mean, she was going super fast.
All right, your take.
My take, I will just give kudos to the sign language person who didn't look like it was hopefully better quality than the one that did the Nelson Mandela funeral.
The Nelson Mandela guy.
That was, I mean,
it's just
pure
doing
comedy,
random gesture.
And hallucinating, apparently. He said he was hallucinating. He saw
angels coming down. I mean,
so Hong Kong, hopefully we got a higher quality.
But do you see angel coming down in this policy address?
Were there any angels? There were some nice little bits and pieces. There was some really unusual stuff. I'll get some of the easy stuff out of the way. First of all, in the last week, there's been 2 different groups of people that have been calling for the government to get with their program on getting their technology bureau in place. And CY said, we're actually going to do that. So those guys will be happy. Charles Mock and his gang did one as well.
I think he knew it beforehand.
Yeah. It's like it wasn't like they had said they were going to do it and just hadn't gotten around to it. It was almost like, oh yeah, don't worry guys, I'll get to it this year. So Technology Bureau is going to happen.
All right.
Number one. The other thing that really struck me was the third runway, slam dunk. I mean, there's been a little bit of like the environmentalists saying, oh, should we do this? Maybe we shouldn't. CY got up there and was like, our airport's jammed in a couple of years. The third runway is going to happen. And the message, if I were an environmentalist who was trying to fight that, I'd be like, all right, white flag, it's done. I mean, this third runway is a slam dunk. It's going to happen.
Period.
Yeah. Okay, demographics. A lot of it dealt with old people.
Yep.
How are we going to take care of old people? This has been a major preoccupation of the government. They're looking at it. They had a couple of things. One of them was, for the first time, they're going to fund an NGO to create an elderly care center in Shenzhen. Giving people who are from Hong Kong the option to live in and be cared for in China. And people have mooted this idea for years and saying, if it's cheaper to take care of old people in China, why are we going to pay to do it here? So this is a pilot program, and I think that's going to be one to watch, to see, because this could be the future.
They say this will be a pilot for 2 years.
Yeah.
But it might be wise to do it 2 years earlier. I mean, it might be wise if Donald Trump has done it in his last year.
Yeah.
Because by now, by 2014, inflation was invading Shenzhen as well.
Yeah, I mean, all over China, any first-tier city in China, like Hong Kong, has got rampant inflation.
And it's no longer that cheap for the elderly to live in Shenzhen anymore.
Yeah. Well, at least now they'll know kind of what the costs are going to be. If they had started a few years ago, they would have gotten caught unawares. But maybe it starts in Shenzhen and then goes out to second-tier cities or more rural areas. Maybe not everybody wants to live like downtown. So it's a pilot. We'll see how it goes. The other thing they talked about was starting an elderly academy development in primary and secondary schools. And, whenever the government talks about, jobs in the future, taking care of old people, we're going to start training them in primary school how to, basically change a bedpan, wipe an old person's butt, put it in an IV line. I mean, I want to hear more details on that. But is Hong Kong going to be people working in finance making all the money and the rest of us taking care of our grandparents?
I think what he said is that he wants to encourage more young people to join the healthcare industry, especially to become carers for the elderly.
Which is what I'm talking about.
So what he is saying that he is trying to pay them first before they learn the skills. But it's not a very big program. It's only 1,000 space. So
But in the long term, really, when we can get certified nurses from the Philippines for 4,000 Hong Kong dollars a month.
Do you still need that?
Hong Kong a month. Well, are young people really going to want to do that kind of work? When they all want to.
I don't know.
They all want to be bankers.
It's either this or you can import laborers.
Yeah, but young people aren't going to do it. I don't think so. You know, like I think try to get them like, hey guys, here's a great future, and like wiping up old people. Like, I mean, like I hate to say it, but that's kind of what it is, and no matter how you glamorize it. So let's see how that goes. So they talked a lot about the elderly. He talked about development, and of course he was talking a lot about the Zhuhai Hong Kong Bridge and development in that area. And he slipped in a really strange reference. You know, I don't know if it came across in Chinese, but in English it got translated as the East Lantau Metropolis. I'm like, Metropolis, really? Is there going to be an East Lantau Superman to go with it? You know, that's where Superman's from, Metropolis, right? So I'm like, like all of a sudden Discovery Bay is a metropolis, or are they going to put like another 2 or 3 million people in Lantau? You know, Lantau is bigger than Hong Kong Island. Maybe they could, but I mean, it was a weird thing to hear, and a lot of people that were, you know, there were people and journalists doing Twitter feeds, and Facebook kind of up to the date, and a lot of people picked up on that and were like, "What? The East Lantau Metropolis? Did you pick up on anything like that in Chinese?"
I think so, but I think in Chinese it's not as dramatic.
Okay.
The word is not as dramatic.
Right.
I think it's kind of like a big city.
Like a cluster, maybe.
Yeah, in a big city.
You know,
I think I'll take it as kind of there will be a lot of land development in East Lantau.
Yeah, like I guess it's a question of how much land development. You know, because at metropolis, when they use that word in English, you know, like when they talk about New York, it's not just it's like the New York, Boston, all the way down the East Coast. That's considered a metropolis. Yeah. You know, like millions and millions of people. So you said the East Lantau.
Usually, when something like that happens, it must be a big incident happening in the town center. Yeah. Like, for example, I mean, Seoul has always been talking about because they're too close to North Korea.
Right.
So they have to move the whole area to a new metropolis.
Right. But it's like
because it's too close to the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. Yeah. I mean, but we don't have an earthquake in Central right now. I mean, so we don't need to move the metropolis in Lantau.
Or create a new one, So I thought that was really something.
But I think that is something very ambitious.
Yeah,
they want to develop a second metropolis
on Lantau, and I mean that's the environmentalists are going to be up in arms about this. If they got slammed on the third runway, and now it's like, oh, and by the way, we're gonna pave over Lantau. Watch for the environmentalists to be out in force.
All right, okay. So that's your take.
That's my take. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit more tomorrow if we got some time.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks
for coming over.
Cheers.